Thank you. So can we have two more other questions before we turn? Yeah. Yes, please.
Slasity Dafrasovsky, Musipot Kevin. I'm from the UP Center for Integrative Development Studies, and I'd like to ask, as early as 2014, when President Putin made his speech to the Federation, he already mentioned that he was already signaling a warming of relations with ASEAN, but that was 2014, after the barrage of, I'd say, sanctions by the West, especially with the defense covering Ukraine and everything that has happened. But my question for this is, that was 2014, and fast forward to the future, now we're in 2016. Are we seeing real political will from the Russian Federation this time to actually do something more specific, to borrow your words, manifest it to lower people-to-people relations in actually feeling this kind of warming of relations towards ASEAN?
Thank you. Do we have one last question before we ask our speakers to give their answers? Anyone? Okay, if you're still thinking about your questions, maybe we can ask Dr. Sumsky to give his response. I hope it's not ideological, no?
Thanks.
I think you were mistaken when you characterized my attack on whatever as an attack on liberalism. It was, let's call it an attack on neoliberalism, which I do not consider liberal at all. Only from that point of view, it is what you described. Second, elements of a new security system. I think that I would talk right now not so much about the elements as about the characteristics of that security system. And I think that one primary characteristic we have discussed when we talked about the experience of ASEAN, and this is inclusiveness. Everybody has to be given a voice in this system. When I say that European security system is in shambles, I primarily say it because through the synchronized enlargement of European Union and NATO, those who initiated that process basically created a situation when Russia became squeezed out of the European security system. In other words, it was driven into a de facto position of a non-European player. And in my view, since Russia de facto remains a player, we have created a situation where it has an influence, but it is not heard, and it is not taken into account. This is not something that we should tolerate if we want to create anything deserving the name of a new security system, either in Europe or globally. But I think taking into consideration the state of minds of people in countries like Germany or the UK, we are not too close to a moment like that. So we will have to go through conversations and exchanges of the kind that we have today to understand at some point what you want and what we want and whether it can be somehow synthesized. Once again, talking about, you mentioned that liberalism has created unprecedented opportunities. Let me tell you this, it has been doing it. It had been doing it, in my view, exactly until the point when, until which it was in a bigger rivalry with the Soviet Union and communism, and it needed badly to uphold its overall global position and to attract whomever it could attract to its fold. I am absolutely not denying that, it would be tantamount to denying the reality that in cooperation with the West, the Southeast Asian countries which were involved in it made great progress. But if you look at the elements of, for instance, Trans-Pacific Partnership, you would doubt that if that policy, and you probably consider it liberal or neoliberal, will continue to lead to the same results. It will, in fact, in the form in the forms which are suggested in the Trans-Pacific Partnership, they would be leading just to the conservation of today's level of development achieved by these countries and by the support of the American and Western governments, because it will close the avenues for going further into the IT sphere and more profitable fields of activities than the traditional export economic activities which have been practiced in the society so far. We still have a question about the political will of Russia to continue to develop relations with ASEAN, yes? And whatever was...
It was actually more of the actual political will to actually translate these kinds of pronouncements into more detailed and manifested projects that are actually felt by the people and not just on high-level meetings and, I'd say, talks among leaders themselves.
Well, I think we still have to consider one important fact, that international relations remain very much the talks between leaders and between high-level officials. Although, of course, we now have what is described as people diplomacy and activities at the level of social societies. I would say that when we talk today about Russia-ASEAN interactions, we still talk primarily about government-to-government issues and about promotion of projects which involve people at the level, of their participation in various production activities. So I think that what is still important at this point is the continued adherence to further development of economic, political and social contacts with Asian countries, which I think Russia is displaying not just as far as ASEAN is concerned, but other countries too. For instance, take into consideration that moment when Russia was about to have its such a summit with ASEAN in May. This meeting was preceded by Putin's summit with Abisinza, and then it was followed by a meeting with Xi Jinping, and later on by a whole host of other high-level contacts with other Asian countries, which I think are an indication that Russia seeks a broader and diversified relationship in Asia, not necessarily limited, for instance, to our already well-developed relationship with China. I think at this point, this is what is important. Other things will come as well.
Thank you. I was just discussing with Director Mayo. She'd also like to give an input on the question of the maritime disputes in ASEAN. And then finally ask Director J. Patopaka, who's the director of one of our sponsors, on the Institute for Maritime. I will get that right, but
Let's call for
IMLOS, Director Mayo.
Well, on that point, I just want to go back to one of the priorities of Philippine chairmanship, which is to work on the completion of a framework of for a code of conduct. And now that tensions have been dialed down somewhat, we are hoping for more conducive atmospherics during the conferences. And besides the code of conduct, the regional code of conduct, we are also counting on bilateral talks to result in positive arrangement or favorable arrangements in the South China Sea, but all of which must be anchored on the arbitral ruling.
So may I